Well, two more states joined the traitorous Confederacy. What next? Hello and welcome to another episode of Civil War in Hindsight. I'm Lieutenant Tommy. With me as always is Prospector Johnny. And Prospector, well, first off, it is my birthday week.
Yes!
Yeah.
Happy birthday. I assume that for your birthday, we will finally be able to take the fight to these cowardly Confederates and start this war.
No, we're not doing. There will be some shots fired later this week, but there's no.
Did we take a few of them out then? I guess we'll get to that.
No,
we'll find out.
No. And I was supposed to go down to Pensacola to have a little bit of a working vacation at Fort Pickens, but I decided that that's I don't really want to go. You
don't want to go to Florida?
Maybe. Well, it's not necessarily don't want to go to Florida. It's I don't want to go to Fort Pickens where we might be getting shot at. So I don't want to do that.
Well, but I mean, what kind of coward are you? You're a lieutenant in this army.
I am a.
You're gonna get.
I am a second lieutenant staff officer. I am trying to get as far away from shooting as I can.
So you're going around to the different communities recruiting people to get shot at later.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, yeah.
Gotcha.
We'll
okay.
deal with that.
Well done.
Okay. So a little brief recap, if this is the first time of you guys tuning in. The month of April 1861 saw, Fort Sumter trying to get resupplied by Lincoln, and
they did their best.
The Confederates shooting at Fort Sumter before it was able to be resupplied. A lot.
Like a ton.
Like 4,000 rounds, and then nobody died until the surrender ceremony when a cannon exploded, and then
the surrendering celebration from the North, where they decided they were going to celebrate losing by firing cannons, and they killed a couple people in a mule or donkey or something.
Oh, the mule died during the siege,
okay.
Lincoln is going to call for 75,000 troops to suppress the rebellion. This is going to lead to Virginia seceding, and it appears that North Carolina is on the path to doing that as well. The buildup of the Confederate and Union forces around Washington have increased tensions to a boiling point where Baltimore is rioting. Although this week the riots have seemed to be calming down finally.
People are losing interest, no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's hard to riot for that long. Mm-hmm. Really.
And Lincoln is going to respond to the riots and respond to the Confederacy by issuing a blockade of the entire Confederacy. So going to try to starve them out. And,
Good job
and
there.
then he suspends habeas corpus to deal with the whole rioting thing, which is not.
Don't like that.
Don't like that. That's not great.
That's not very freedom-like.
Yeah, there's no freedom there. So this month is going to start on the 1st and 2nd, where North Carolina votes to have a vote on secession. So they're like, we're going to vote to see if we want to talk. Yeah,
right.
So and that vote goes through. So North Carolina is going to vote for secession.
Okay, when is that scheduled for later this week, or do they know when?
Yeah, that has not happened as of
yet.
Okay,
they have to figure out if they're going to vote first, right?
But before the vote even goes through, they're already sending legislators down to Richmond to talk with the Confederate states about joining them. So maybe have the vote before you go and join another country, you asses.
It seems like they kind of might know which direction this vote is going to go already. And are just getting ahead of it a little bit.
It looks like it. Gun designer Samuel Colt, the man who designed this Colt Walker, he is actually attempting to get a regiment formed himself with his new breech-loading Colt Root revolving rifle. So we'll see if that pans out for him. And maybe we'll look at that as a standard weapon if we can get it manufactured in large enough numbers.
I mean, that seems like a pretty good business plan for this Colt guy to try to secure basically at least 75,000 and then probably way more guns.
Definitely probably better than our Springfield 1855 that we got. That's just a single shot muzzleloader. So breech loading, I like.
And so what's this gun that he's wanting to?
It's basically this.
So that's a 6 shooter.
Yeah, it's
but a rifle.
But a rifle, yeah.
A revolving rifle?
Yeah.
Hot dang.
Rifle. Yeah, so that, hey.
All right, I'll take that.
If it can figure out a way to have multiple cylinders and reload those fast, I think that there might be an advantage there. We'll see how that pans out. And the U.S. Navy is going to seize 2 Confederate vessels during their blockade on the 2nd of May. So good for them. Blockade's starting to work. Yeah,
that's great. Now, real quick, I assume this Colt guy is a Northerner. Before we start, hoping he would be producing them for the. He created a regiment for the North.
He's trying to. Yes, he's trying to build up a regiment and arm them with his new
with the good guys.
Rifle. Yes,
all right,
with the good
like
guys.
that.
With the good guys. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Lincoln is going to call for an additional 8 regiments of infantry, of regular infantry, 1 regiment of regular cavalry, and 1 regiment of regular artillery, in addition to the 75,000 volunteers he's called for. Now he's expanding the regular army. So
now, how is this? Now, is this because we haven't declared an official state of war yet? Have we? Why is he able to now start? Because wasn't there some legality between the 75,000?
Yes, there's a limit, and it looks like he might be ignoring that limit a little bit. Although it depends on how you want to look at it. So the 75,000 volunteers were from the state, so these would be state militias, state regiments that are volunteer infantry units that are not a part of the regular army. So.
Gotcha.
This is him actually increasing the size of the regular army. So currently, the regular army is sitting at, me. I'm a regular,
Yeah, you're one of the dozen.
16,367 of us right now today.
It's a dozen-ish.
Dozen-ish. And so he's increasing that to 22,700.
Okay, so this is just building up the army. This isn't calling for more actual fighting type. He's just building an army, and he could be doing that for any number of reasons.
Any number of reasons. Additionally, Lincoln is going to call for an additional 18,000 regular seamen to support the blockade because we need. That's why I said seamen as opposed to sailors, because I knew you'd giggle at that. Sorry, children at home. Although you can't. We're watching this anyways.
No. Turn this off. You don't need history.
Yeah, right. Lord John Russell in London is going to receive Confederate commissioners. Yeah, John Russell. He's going to receive Confederate commissioners over the protests of the Union. Lord John Russell will claim that this was an informal meeting and not under any official capacity. So he's going to talk to these Confederates to see what they, see if there might be some type of, alliance or agreement that can come with them and the British Crown. I don't like that.
No, we don't. We need the British to be like, you know what, fight your own battles. We don't want to deal with you guys. Y'all attacked us a bit ago.
Sure
we don't want to deal with that anymore.
On May 3rd, General Scott and General McClellan will propose to Lincoln we have a name for this blockade, Johnny. It's called the Anaconda Plan.
Ooh, in addition that.
It's got a catchy. Yeah, it's got a catchy. So we're going to try to strangle the South, and we're going to do this by a naval blockade. Naval blockade that goes all around the coast, and then we're going to cut the Mississippi. Take over the Mississippi. Which is going to
now that might be a challenge though. They've got a lot of states along the Mississippi, right?
Yeah, they do. So the plan is to cut the Confederacy in half. So you'll split the western part of the Confederacy, where Texas is, basically from the eastern part, through the Mississippi. So once we control the Mississippi and we got that blockade completely surrounded, effectively the South will be cut off of all supplies and be left to their own devices, and hopefully that will starve them out in 6 months or so, maybe.
Yeah. Now, so they have Texas over on the western end of the Mississippi. What else do they have? Is there anything else, or is it basically just cutting off Texas? I mean, Texas is substantial. Don't get me wrong.
I am awful with geography and where the Mississippi runs.
I mean, east of Texas.
The Tennessee's east.
Tennessee's east.
Right?
That's straight south of Indiana.
Okay. Well, we got Kentucky and Missouri. That's west of the Mississippi, right?
Although Missouri. Missouri is just west because St. Louis sits on it.
Kentucky's not. Yeah, Missouri's
Kentucky's
west.
East. So we're looking Missouri. Where's Oklahoma at with this? Is that
Oklahoma's a part of the territory. Yeah, they're a territory. Johnny, you're predicting the future.
I'm a bit of a.
It's a lot. Basically, it's like a lot of the territories that are going to be cut off from the rest of the Confederacy.
And Texas, which is.
But it's also the the Mississippi is the lifeblood of any of those middle portions of the states. You know,
right. That's where they get
Tennessee,
all their supplies, right?
Yeah,
they have
yeah.
all the big
Louisiana, all them are going to get a lot of supplies through that river.
Sure.
Yep. On May 4th, the Confederates will seize the U.S. ordnance stores at Kansas City, Missouri. So, shit. And the Confederate Navy is going to receive its first cannon cast at the Phoenix Iron Works in Gretna, Louisiana. So,
so they're starting to manufacture now.
Yeah, they manufacture their very first cannon.
Their one manufacturing plant in the South.
Well, they got one barrel that rolled off that ironworks. So
that's great. It just they'll get another one in the next 4 or 5 weeks, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think the Union just rolled off like 5 as we were talking.
Well, what are you gonna do? I mean, when you have nothing but manufacturing, you can ramp that up. That's why this is gonna be a joke of war.
On May 5th, the Union General Butler is going to occupy rail stations in Baltimore, which is going to pretty much effectively at this point calm things down in Baltimore. You know, we have a large military presence. He's controlling the rail lines. Now the railways are free to again resume traffic back up into Washington. So pretty much the riots in Baltimore look like they're about ready to be over, if not already over. On May 6th, the 9th and 10th states of Arkansas and Tennessee are going to officially join the Confederacy, Johnny. Arkansas will vote 69-1 in favor of secession.
All right, did that one guy get tarred and feathered or something?
I'm sure he definitely did. Yeah, there's no chance
that's ballsy to be the one guy.
Yeah. Tennessee is their state senate is gonna vote 20-4, and the House is gonna vote 46-21. So.
Oh, that's closer. But I mean, I'm guessing a lot of that has to do with them being like, hey, we're pretty close to the border, like that gray area.
Yeah, maybe we don't wanna.
Lots of shit's gonna be fought here. If that is the case, we don't maybe don't want that.
I don't want that though. Well, they get it anyways. Confederate President Jefferson Davis is going to issue a proclamation saying that the Confederacy is at a state of war with the Union. The Union, however, has continued to deny an official state of war because a declaration would require congressional consent, which hasn't happened. And then, of course, we have to admit that the Confederacy is its own country.
And that's the big deal,
and we're not going to do that.
That's what the big thing is. We're basically, like, the reason we are not doing it is be like, well, we can't be at war with something that doesn't exist. And we refuse to accept that this actually exists and that these are real people doing real things. Really trying to break away from our great nation.
Nope, it is we are a police action. We're just controlling a little rowdy bunch of children.
Of states of children. entire sections of this amber waves of great nation just being taken away from the Union.
Lord John Russell from London will announce that England will recognize the Confederacy as a hold on, as a belligerent state.
What?
But he
I'm in a belligerent state.
Yes.
What does that mean for the state of the Confederacy?
That means it is a group of people within a nation that is at odds with that nation, but it specifically does not mean that group of people is its own nation. They said England does not acknowledge that the Confederacy is its own country. It is just a belligerent.
They're a bunch of traitors.
It's a belligerent state inside the U.S. So
just a ton of traitors. Being traitorous against the United States is basically what England is admitting. They're like, it's a bunch of terrorists, essentially.
So what this means is that England cannot formally come to a peace treaty or an alliance with the Confederacy as long as they do not acknowledge them as an independent nation.
Now, with us, though, with the good part of the country that fought against them and gained their independence through killing them and throwing their team in the harbor. But with us, they'd be fine joining up.
Yes, they could. Although it doesn't seem like they're too interested in supporting us. Although, from what I hear from my friends in the Ordnance Department, it does sound like they are willing to sell both of us guns.
Oh, you don't say.
It sounds like the Confederacy has put in an order for some Enfield rifles, and we have put in some orders for some Enfield rifles.
And it
sounds like the English are like, here you go. Count the money. Yep. On May 7th, we were going to see Lincoln approving Colonel Robert Anderson to recruit troops from Kentucky and Western Virginia. So he's allowed to go down to those states and start recruiting troops from
and do your
from
job,
Kentucky.
basically
Do my job. So he's going to be able to go in Kentucky, which is a neutral state, and get some people. He's also able to go into Western Virginia, which we had that one county that we talked about last week that said, we don't acknowledge the Confederacy. We don't acknowledge that we seceded. We did not secede. We're still a part of the Union. So he's able to go to that part of the state and recruit for us.
And so that's in the western portion of Virginia, where
yes.
he's recruiting there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, that's great. And so once they are recruited, I assume, they don't stay there, right? They're recruited and brought up into training camp somewhere else or whatever.
Yep. Knoxville, Tennessee on the 7th is going to have a protest between pro-union and pro-secessionists, which is going to lead to a riot and lots of shots fired, with one man being mortally wounded. But here's the thing. I don't care, because Tennessee's now part of the dirty Confederacy, so it's good to see that we have a city in the Confederacy, Knoxville, that's now in the riot as well, because they don't like this whole Civil War thing.
Right, but it's basically a mirrored image of Baltimore.
Yes,
what happened there. And so, but it's shots fired. I mean, these are many battles with civilians at this point, right? Like
at this point,
we haven't had an army battle,
no.
right?
At this point,
the civilians are fighting. The civilians are like, we're burning this to the ground.
Yes, exactly. We've had this, the siege of Fort Sumter, but outside of that, it's been mostly civilians shooting at other civilians.
Yeah.
So,
then are people like? Is this? So are people like brought up on charges here? Like they don't know who killed who, right? Like it's just a bunch of shots.
It's just a riot
being fired.
Yeah.
The chaos, and at the end of the day, everybody goes home.
I think this sounds working. Yeah. On May 8th, it is my birthday, and not much is going to happen on May 8th, which is good.
Except you're going to be born like I was 1830 something, 25.
Yeah, sure.
Ish.
Something like that.
I don't know. What year is it?
It's 61, Johnny. It's 1861.
So
with the week, it's like 30 something.
So like 20 something. Yeah, no,
20 something.
Yeah,
like 20, 25. It'd be 1825.
There you go. Just like that. And happy birthday, 1825. So many good things happened that year.
With the week,
somebody invented a hooping stick.
Yep. With the week ending on May 9th with an exchange of shots between the USS Yankee and the Confederate shore batteries at Gloucester Point, Virginia. So we do have a little bit of a
there's a skirmish.
Between the Navy vessel of the USS Yankee and batteries in Virginia, in a fort in Virginia. So,
and so, is this a full out no casualty? This is just people making noise.
We made noise. We pot shotted at each other. Nobody got hit. No injuries. No. Yep. So
now, how much do the people fighting these not want to hit somebody? Or is it just bad?
I think
tech?
it's a lot of no, it's not bad tech. I think it's a lot of on the Confederacy side, I think you have a lot of people who have they don't know what they're doing.
Okay.
And then on our side, we only had 16,000 regular troops just before the war kicked off, and
that's not many.
Which is not many, and it's not like we've been at battle with much of anybody other than some Indians. And we don't get a lot of ammunition for training, so I think this is just a lot of we don't know what the hell we're doing.
It's just people loading guns and not having shot them,
enough to
hundreds or thousands of times that you need to be proficient with a gun.
Yeah,
it's just them doing that, and then it's like handing me a gun and be like, all right,
have at it.
Off you go. Go kill something several hundred yards away.
I can only imagine how the first battle is going to play out whenever, if ever, it does happen. So
I'm stoked for it. It's going to be we're going to just roll. It's going to be just not a steamroller because those don't exist. It's going to be a bunch of horses just running over.
A stampede. It's a stampede.
A stampede. That's a thing that happens in the 1800s.
So we'll see what happens when the battles start. Well, not next week, most likely, but whenever it does happen, stay tuned.